Look at that little rubberized plastic cylinder blinking on your desk right now. Or maybe it's sitting on your kitchen counter or clipped to your shower caddy. It is sleek, it is waterproof, it connects to your phone in 3 seconds, and it is entirely lying to you. That device is not just a speaker. It is the ultimate symbol of how we quietly, almost happily, traded acoustic reality for absolute convenience. Over the last decade, we have been conditioned by brilliant marketing to accept a very strange premise: that being able to take our music to the beach or toss it into a backpack somehow justifies hearing our favorite bands as if they were performing inside a highly pressurized tin can. I call this the plastic matrix. It is not some grand, evil conspiracy engineered by tech giants in a smoky boardroom. No, we just fell so deeply, hopelessly in love with portability that we accidentally sacrificed the physical, visceral truth of sound. We traded the actual movement of air for compression algorithms, and we traded genuine acoustic resonance for heavily artificial bass. And the most frustrating part of this entire situation is that you probably paid a premium for this compromise. You probably dropped $200 or $300 on a device that is destined to become e-waste the moment its internal lithium battery refuses to hold a charge. To understand exactly how we got here, and more importantly, how we escape, we do not need to look back at the golden age of vintage audio. We just need to look at what is actually happening right now at this exact millisecond inside that little flashing box. The issue is not that modern technology is inherently bad. The issue is simply that physics has absolute, unbreakable limits. When you press play on your smartphone and beam that music through the air via Bluetooth, you are taking a massive, complex piece of art and forcing it through a brutal bottleneck. Think about a symphony orchestra, or even just a heavily layered rock track. You have dozens of instruments spanning massive frequency ranges, recorded in high definition. When you send that over standard Bluetooth, the file gets aggressively squeezed. Data is literally thrown away to make the wireless trip fast and stable. That compromised, heavily compressed signal then lands inside a tiny, overworked microchip buried inside your portable speaker. This poor little chip is living an absolute nightmare. It is trying to be the digital translator, the preamplifier, the power amplifier, and the crossover manager, all at the exact same time, while running on a battery. It is like trying to appreciate the intricate brushstrokes of the Mona Lisa by looking at it through a dusty keyhole from down the hall. Because the physical space inside a portable speaker is so incredibly small, the drivers, the actual cones that move air to create sound, cannot reproduce a full frequency range. So the manufacturers use acoustic trickery. They use digital signal processing to artificially boost the mid-bass, creating a constant, muddy thumping sound that tricks your brain into thinking the speaker is powerful. But listen closely to the mid-range. Listen to the vocals. They vanish. The soundstage collapses entirely into a single point. And the cymbals do not shimmer. They sound like aerosol cans being sprayed in another room. All you are left with is a synthetic thump in your face to mask the missing soul of the music. But here is the best-kept secret about great audio. That holy grail of sound, the kind that makes you close your eyes, the kind that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up because it feels like the vocalist is standing right there in the room with you. That is not a myth. It is not a luxury locked away in the acoustically treated listening rooms of wealthy elitists who buy $10,000 cables. High fidelity is just basic physics, and today, it is completely accessible. Escaping this plastic matrix just requires us to do one simple thing. We have to unbundle that overworked, do-it-all chip. We need to map out the true path of the sound and give dignity back to every single step of the journey. I want you to think of your audio signal like a river. It starts at the source, high up in the mountains. It flows down through a filtration system. It gets pumped with power, and finally, it crashes down as a waterfall into your ears. If you pollute the water at the very beginning of the river, no pump or filter downstream is ever going to make it clean again. Let us start at the very beginning, the source. If you are listening to standard streaming services through a web browser, your computer's operating system is messing with your audio. It mixes the music with notification sounds. It resamples the rate, It degrades the purity before it even leaves the machine. To fix this, we need a bit-perfect source. This means using software like Fubar 2000 for your local files, or a high-resolution streaming service like Qobuz or Tidal, configured to bypass the Windows or Mac audio mixer entirely. We want the raw, untouched digital ones and zeros. Or perhaps you want a physical source. This is where the turntable comes in. Vinyl is not just a hipster aesthetic. It is a mechanical extraction of a physical sound wave carved into a plastic groove. A diamond stylus vibrates on a microscopic level, generating a tiny electrical current. It is fragile, it is beautiful, and it requires precision. But whether your source is a pristine digital file or a spinning record, the signal that comes out of it is completely useless on its own. It needs translation. It needs an interpreter. For digital audio, this interpreter is the DAC, the digital to analog converter. Inside your laptop or your phone, there is a DAC, but it costs about 3 cents to manufacture, and it is surrounded by noisy electrical components that introduce interference. When you use a dedicated external DAC, you are taking those cold, lifeless ones and zeros and translating them into a smooth, continuous electrical wave with absolute mathematical precision. A bad DAC makes music sound harsh, fatiguing, and metallic. A great DAC breathes air into the room. It separates the instruments. It makes a piano sound like wooden hammers striking metal strings rather than a synthetic keyboard. For vinyl, the interpreter is the phono preamplifier. When music is pressed to vinyl, the bass frequencies have to be drastically reduced. Otherwise, the needle would literally jump out of the groove. The treble is boosted to overcome the surface noise of the record. This is called the RIAA equalization curve. A dedicated phonostage takes this weird, thin, anemic signal coming from your turntable and perfectly reverses that curve, restoring the massive, chest-thumping bass and smoothing out the highs. So our river has been filtered. The signal is pure, analog, and accurate. But it is weak. It is just a whisper of electricity. It needs a heart, and it needs muscle. The heart of the system is the preamplifier. This is where you control the volume, but more importantly, it is where you can inject character into the sound. This is where we can talk about the magic of vacuum tubes. If you look at modern, high-end solid-state gear, it is designed to be ruthlessly clinical. But sometimes clinical is boring. Human ears love warmth. We love slight musical imperfections. Putting a small tube preamplifier into your signal path introduces something called even-order harmonics. It is a type of distortion, yes, but it is a beautiful distortion. It thickens the lower mid-range. It makes vocals sound incredibly intimate and organic. And the fascinating part is that you do not have to settle for the cheap, stock tubes that come from modern factories. You can hunt down NOS tubes, new old stock, glass tubes manufactured in the 1960s or 70s for military radar equipment, sitting in boxes for decades. Plugging a piece of Cold War history into your audio system and hearing it sweeten your favorite jazz album is an experience no Bluetooth speaker can ever replicate. Now the signal has character, but it still cannot move a speaker cone. It needs muscle. It needs the power amplifier. Historically, getting clean, massive power meant buying a receiver the size and weight of a microwave oven. Those old Class A and Class A/B amplifiers generated incredible heat and drew massive amounts of electricity. They are beautiful, but they are not always practical. Today, physics and engineering have given us a modern miracle: the Class D amplifier. For years, audiophiles mocked Class D. It was used in cheap subwoofers and sounded sterile. But recent advancements, specifically chips like the TPA3255, have completely changed the landscape. You can now buy a dedicated power amplifier the size of a paperback book that delivers hundreds of watts of pristine, distortion-free power to your speakers. It runs cool, it is incredibly efficient, and it grips the speaker drivers with an iron fist. I'm controlling the bass so tightly that it feels like a physical punch to the chest rather than a muddy rumble. Finally, our signal reaches the end of the river. The transducers, the speakers or headphones. This is where electrical energy is violently converted back into acoustic energy. This is where the air actually moves. You cannot cheat physics here. To create realistic, room-filling sound, you need cabinet volume. You need drivers that have space to breathe. But choosing a speaker is highly subjective because every speaker has a personality. Some speakers, like certain horn-loaded Klipsch models, are highly analytical. They act like an acoustic microscope. They will reveal the squeak of the drummer's kick pedal and the intake of breath from the singer. They are exciting and dynamic. Other speakers, perhaps classic British monitors or vintage wooden cabinets, take a different approach. They are laid back. They roll off the sharp treble and present the music like a warm blanket. They might not show you every microscopic detail, but you can listen to them for 8 hours straight without an ounce of fatigue. And if you do not have the space for a room full of speakers, or you live in an apartment with thin walls, the exact same philosophy applies to headphones. But forget the closed-back, noise-canceling headphones you wear on airplanes. Those create a claustrophobic pressure chamber inside your skull. The true audiophile escape route is the open-back headphone. Open-back headphones have grills on the outside of the ear cups, allowing the driver to move freely and the sound waves to escape into the room. Because the sound is not bouncing back off a plastic shell into your ear, the music does not sound like it is trapped inside your head. It sounds like it is happening in the room around you. The soundstage widens dramatically. You can pinpoint exactly where the guitarist is standing relative to the microphone. It is a holographic experience. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds incredibly complicated and terribly expensive. But that is the lie of the plastic matrix. I promised you that for the exact same price as that trendy, disposable cylindrical speaker, you can build a real, permanent system. You just have to know how to route your escape. I am going to detail 3 specific escape routes. 3 kits designed for different spaces, proving that high fidelity is within your reach right now. Meaning escape route number 1, the minimalist desk kit. This is for the person who spends 8 hours a day staring at a monitor. Forget the terrible speakers built into your laptop. For under $200, you can buy a compact USB DAC and amplifier combo. It is the size of a pack of gum, but it contains dedicated high-quality audio architecture. Pair that with a set of entry-level planar magnetic in-ear monitors, or a highly efficient pair of open-back headphones. You plug this directly into your computer. The result? While you are typing spreadsheets, you will suddenly hear background vocals and acoustic guitar layers in songs you have listened to for 20 years and never fully heard before. It completely transforms the isolation of desk work into a private concert. Escape route number 2, the bookshelf system. This is the sweet spot for a bedroom or a small home office. Here we separate the components. You buy a dedicated desktop DAC. You run RCA cables from the DAC into a compact Class D amplifier sitting on your desk. From the amplifier, you run real raw copper speaker wire to a pair of passive bookshelf speakers placed on stands at ear level, forming a perfect equilateral triangle with your listening position. For the price of a high-end waterproof Bluetooth boombox, you now have a system that creates a phantom center channel. When you close your eyes, the singer will sound like they are hovering in the dead center of your monitor, completely detached from the physical speakers. Escape route number 3, the modular living room. This is where we build a shrine to the music. You start with a dedicated network streamer to pull high-resolution audio from the internet without your phone interrupting. You feed that into an external DAC. Then, you route that pristine signal into a vacuum tube preamplifier to inject that golden harmonic warmth. From the tube preamp, you feed a powerful Class D amplifier, or even 2 monoblock amplifiers, one dedicated to the left channel and one for the right. Finally, you push that massive power into a pair of floor-standing tower speakers. This system does not just play music, it pressurizes the entire room. It makes the floorboards vibrate. It brings the physical mass of a drum kit right into your living space. And because it is modular, If a component breaks, or if you want to upgrade your DAC in 5 years, you just swap that one box. The rest of the system remains untouched. It is a permanent investment. But having the gear is only half the journey. A high-performance engine needs high-octane fuel. You cannot test a newly built, unbundled hi-fi system with a heavily compressed pop song from 2009. You need tracks that push the physics of the equipment to its absolute breaking point. You need a trial by fire. When you set up your new system, sit in the center of the speakers. Turn the volume up to a commanding level. First, test for production clarity and separation. Put on Steely Dan's Aja. The studio perfectionism on this record is legendary. Listen to the cymbals. On a Bluetooth speaker, they are a mess of white noise. On your new system, you should be able to hear the wooden tip of the drumstick striking the brass, yet in the natural decay of the metal ringing out into silence. Next, test the iron grip of your amplifier and the speed of your transducers. Put on Daft Punk's Random Access Memories, specifically the track Giorgio by Marauder. When the synthesized bass line drops, it should not linger. It should hit your chest with absolute authority and stop exactly when the note stops. There should be no muddy overhang. It should be tight, fast, and ruthless. Finally, test the soundstage and the imaging. Put on the live acoustic version of Hotel California from the Eagles' Hell Freezes Over album. Listen to the opening guitar plucks, but more importantly, listen to the crowd. You should be able to sense the physical dimensions of the venue. You should hear someone coughing in the back left corner. The music should have depth, height, and width. Ultimately, the choice is entirely yours. You can remain in the plastic matrix. You can stick with the absolute convenience of disposable all-in-one audio. You can keep buying gadgets that sit on your kitchen counter, blinking their LED lights, heavily processing your favorite songs until they sound like everything else. Or you can stop buying gadgets and start investing in sound. You can respect the physics of the signal. You can give the digital conversion, the amplification, and the physical movement of air the dedicated hardware they mathematically require. When you do this, you realize that high fidelity is not snobbery. It is simply the act of removing the veil between you and the artist. It is about experiencing the emotion of the performance exactly as it was captured in the room on the day it was recorded. And the music has always been there, hidden in plain sight, trapped inside heavily compressed files and overworked microchips. It is just waiting for you to peel the plastic away. The only question left is, what are you going to listen to first?